Good afternoon, all. Our presenter for the session is Dr. Sendil Rani, a senior consultant who has 16 years of experience in ABCRI. She have completed a BAMS and diploma in food and nutrition from Annamalai University. She was also a resource person in IGOTRA in 2019. Main area of clinical interest are gynec diseases, rheumatology, diabetes, and neurological disorders. She'll be presenting in the topic Ayurvedic approach towards various gynecological conditions. Thank you.
Namaste to one and all. Today's my topic is on common gynecological conditions. The first slide is on importance of women in society. Women are the center of creation of Mother Nature. Health of women considerably affects the health of future generation and wellness of the family. As hormone levels vary significantly from age to age, she needs special care in her different stages of life. These hormonal variations also make females prone to stress and degenerations. For thousands of years, Ayurveda, the science of life and a way of living, is enabling women to combat these issues effectively. So before going to the main topic, I would like to brief about what a menstruation is. It is the technical term for getting your periods. About once a month, females who have gone through their puberty will experience menstrual bleeding. This happens because the lining of the uterus has prepared itself for a possible pregnancy by becoming thicker and richer in blood vessels. In this stage, if pregnancy does not occur, the inner lining endometrium starts shedding out. This process is called as menstruation. Bleeding usually lasts for 3 to 8 days. For most women, menstruation happens in a fairly regular, predictable pattern. The length of time from the first day of one period to the first day of the next period normally ranges from 21 to 35 days. So this is the diagrammatic representation of menstrual cycle. The first 1 to 5 is the menstrual cycle where you can see uterine lining breaking down. And the second phase is 6 to 10 where the uterine lining endometrium starts slowly building up. From day 11 to 18 is the ovulatory period, and here the pregnancy occurs. If there is no pregnancy, then again the uterine lining starts building up, which is from 19 to 28 days, and the shedding occurs again. So this cycle keep on repeating in each woman. When do you feel that your cycles are irregular? Bleeding or spotting between periods, bleeding after sexual intercourse, heavy bleeding during your period, menstrual bleeding that lasts longer than normal, or when you get periods even after your menopause. Why one must menstruate regularly? It is a periodical cleansing of uterus. It normalizes your hormone levels. It is a natural way of toxic removal in all women. It is a boon to create a healthy environment for the pregnancy. So this is again another important slide mentioning about Apana Vada. Most of us know about Vada, Pitta and Kapha. So this is one of the 5 types of Vada dosha. It is a physiological entity. It is more active in pelvic region, and the main function is to govern the physiological process like micturition, Defecation is evacuating your bowels, menstruation, and childbirth. So what are the common causes for hormonal imbalance? The first and primemost is lifestyle changes. That includes diet and activities. Nowadays, because of the stress or whatever may be, people are not taking the food on proper timings. Even if they take food, they just feel that eating something is a healthy food. It's not like that. And the second point is sleep cycle disturbance. Stress. When you have a lot of vitamin D deficiency, calcium, iron, this also can spasmodic drugs, which will have an impact on your hormonal levels. Or sometimes they take it for postponing the periods. Sometimes they take it on a regular basis for birth control pills. So these all will have a proper impact on your hormonal level. Another thing is hormone replacement therapy. So what are the common gynecological conditions which are caused due to hormonal imbalance? The first one is endometriosis, chocolate cyst, ovarian cyst, hypothyroidism-induced menstrual variation, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, and fibroids. Endometriosis. We hear a lot on this term nowadays. So what is endometriosis? It is the medical condition in which the functional endometrium that grows inside uterus is present in sites other than uterus. Endometriosis is estrogen dependent and manifests during the reproductive years. So what are the main symptoms which a person will be presenting with endometriosis? It is pelvic region pain, backache, especially in the sacral region, menorrhagia, that is overbleeding, dysmenorrhea, painful menstrual cycle. This pain can be before your periods, it can sustain during your periods, and it can even last after your periods. And in some people, they can experience the pain throughout the month also. Dyspareunia is painful intercourse. Infertility, pain during urination or defecation. So this is the pictorial representation of a normal endometrium and the inflamed endometrium. You can see the reddish lining present here. The second disease is chocolate cyst. It is a non-cancerous fluid-filled cyst that typically form deep within the ovaries. They get their name from their brown, tar-like appearance, looking something like melted chocolate. They are also called as ovarian endometriomas. It is commonly found in women of reproductive age. How does the color of chocolate cyst comes from? Or how do a cyst has a chocolate color? It comes from old menstrual blood and tissues that fills the cavity of the cyst. The cyst can be in both the ovaries, or it can be on single ovary, it can be multiple cysts, or it can be a single cyst also. What are the symptoms? There can be chronic abdominal pain during your periods, and which can become more painful every month. It will hurt towards the front, from the navel to the pelvis, towards the back, from the waist to the coccyx, and might even become painful to the point of fainting. They might experience irritable bowels, that is, frequent loose motions, flatulence, diarrhea, pain while excreting, pain in the stomach, back, leg, or during sexual intercourse. They might discharge or urinate blood or urinate very frequently. This condition also leads to infertility because the fallopian tubes becomes constricted. In many cases, the buildup of endometrium causes the fallopian tubes to malfunction. So this is the diagrammatic representation of endometriosis seen outside the cavity of the uterus, and it moves to the fallopian tube, and it can be seen in the ovaries also. This is the chocolate cyst. You can see a melted chocolate colored cyst here. Ovarian cyst. Any ovarian follicle that is larger than about 2 centimeters is termed as ovarian cyst. They are closed sac-like structures within the ovary that are filled with a liquid or semi-solid substance. They affect women of all ages, but it is mostly predominantly seen in the reproductive phase. It is generally harmless and it is non-cancerous also. What are the symptoms? Irregular periods, abnormal uterine bleeding, there can be pain in abdomen or pelvis, fatigue, headache, nausea. Again, a diagram showing a normal ovary here and an ovarian cyst here. Hypothyroidism-induced menstrual variation. Hypothyroidism occurs when your body does not produce enough thyroid hormones. Your thyroid is responsible for providing energy to nearly every organ in your body. It regulates the function of heartbeat and the digestive system. Without the right amount of thyroid hormones, your body functions slows down. It is also called as underactive thyroid. It is mostly predominantly seen in women than men. It can occur in any phase of your life, but mostly seen after 60s. It can be ruled out through a blood test or with the symptoms. So what are the common signs and symptoms of hypothyroidism? Fatigue, that is weakness, weight gain, puffy, sensitive face, depression, constipation, feeling cold, decreased sweating, slowed heart rate, elevated blood cholesterol, dry skin, dry thinning of hair, or you can feel lot of hair fall, impaired memory, fertility issues, menstrual changes, muscle weakness, muscle stiffness, aches and tenderness, pain, stiffness in your joints, and people can experience hoarseness of their voice also. Again, this is a diagrammatic representation of how HPO acts is affecting your reproductive organ. DUB is also called as dysfunctional uterine bleeding. It is due to the dysfunction and hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis. In most women, abnormal uterine bleeding is caused by a hormonal imbalance. When hormones are the problem, doctor call the problem as dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Abnormal bleeding caused by hormone imbalance is more commonly seen in teenagers or the women who are approaching their menopause. What are the other causes? It is thyroid problem, elevated prolactin hormone, excessive weight loss, obesity, stress, liver disorders, renal disorders. Symptoms of DUB. Patient may present with pelvic pain, or patient will be saying that she has a lot of discomfort or pressure within the stomach. Menstrual bleeding lasting more than 7 days, menstrual bleeding lasting less than 2 days, heavy menstrual bleeding, bleeding or spotting between periods, bleeding contains lot of clots or large clots. These are the different phases of dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Menorrhagia, that is prolonged or excessive uterine bleeding, occurs at regular intervals. So the bleeding can last beyond 7 days. Metrorrhagia is uterine bleeding occurring at irregular intervals or between your periods. Menometrorrhagia is uterine bleeding occurring at irregular intervals with heavy or prolonged menstrual flow. Polymenorrhea is getting your regular cycles with a short span of every 21 days or less than 21 days. Oligomenorrhea is uterine bleeding occurring at intervals of 35 days or more than that. Amenorrhea is absence of uterine bleeding for minimum 6 months. This is the diagrammatic representation of DUB again. Fibroids. They are generally non-cancerous that appear during your reproductive phase. It is also called as fibromyoma, leiomyoma, or myomas. Their size can be very small like a seedling, or it can be a bulky mass also. In extreme conditions, it can expand the uterus so much that it reaches the rib cage and can add weight. It comes single or multiple. So what are the general symptoms do you see people who are having uterine fibroids? Heavy menstrual bleeding, menstrual periods lasting more than a week, pelvic pressure or pain, frequent urination, difficulty in emptying the bladder, constipation, backache or leg pains. So diagrammatic representation of a normal uterus on the right hand side, and you can see fibroids on different parts of the uterus. So what are the common investigations undertaken here? It is pervaginal examination. Next is USG abdomen of pelvis as well as transvaginal. In the case of endometriosis and chocolate cyst, MRI and CT are the best investigatory methods. So coming to Ayurvedic perspective, why do people go for alternate system of medicine when they have this kind of issues? The first thing is many are afraid of the surgery. Second is of their age. If they are in their middle age, people doesn't like to generally go for any kind of surgery. And the third one is they don't want to disturb their body anatomy. So coming to Ayurvedic treatment, the first and primemost thing is we have to correct the Vata. As I have already discussed earlier, Apana Vata is responsible for the proper menstruation. If that is being deranged, you have to give medicines for correcting it. Second is Agni Deepanam, that is to improve the metabolism. Amapajanam, it is to remove the toxins. Shrodho Shodhanam, that is clearing the channels. Anulomanam is again what I have told, is by Vata correction. Rakta Prasadanam is nourishing the blood and improving the circulation. So again in Ayurveda, we have got two treatment modalities. One is Shamana Chikitsa and Shodhana Chikitsa. Shamana is pacifying drugs. That is, we give some basic medications to correct the problems. And Shodhana is the treatment where you have to undergo many kind of Panchakarma treatment. So I have just kept the Nasyam as a Shodhana here because this is the best way to correct your HPO axis. So whatever treatments you're doing, it has to be monitored by a doctor. It should not be done by yourself. So what are the home remedies for painful periods? Ginger, you can make a decoction of ginger and take it twice a day. Jaggery, you can take jaggery as such, or you mix it with jaggery with ajwain or jeera. Next is garlic. You can take garlic with milk as decoction or garlic with water as decoction. Hing is asafoetida. You can fry hing, take a pinch, add little bit of ghee to it, take twice daily after your food. That also will give relief for your painful periods. Aloe vera, again you have to take the pulp of aloe vera, just take in empty stomach on a regular basis. Fenugreek is vendayam. You can soak it overnight. Either you take the water or you can take water with fenugreek on empty stomach on a regular basis. Ajwain, again you can take it, you just fry ajwain, powder it, take half teaspoon with warm water before lunch and dinner, or else you can mix ajwain with jaggery, or plain sesame seed or sesame with jaggery also you can take. So again, when you have painful periods, you can apply hot fumigation on the abdomen. There can be oil application with plain sesame oil. If the patient is presenting with continuous painful periods, she can recommend. I mean, the doctor can recommend tub bath either with lukewarm water or with decoction or even with plain sesame oil. And some yogas can be regularly done to give antispasmodic effect. Home remedies for heavy flu. Make a decoction of coriander seeds and cinnamon decoction. You can take a pinch of saffron, just mix it with honey and take twice daily after food. Raisins, either you soak it overnight or just make a paste of it and take twice daily after food. The stems of lotus, you cut it down into small pieces, fry in ghee and can be taken on a regular basis. Gokshira is again nerinjimul. You can just get the powder of it, take half teaspoon before lunch, before dinner, or else boil the water with gokshira and can be taken as a drinking water. Shadavari also can be made as a palkashayam and can be taken for the heavy menstrual flow. If the patient is suffering with scanty flow, one can advise ellurunda. That is tila with jaggery. So what are the contraindications one must follow during the menstrual phase? Avoid sleeping during daytime. Application of anjana is contraindicated. Crying, massage, doing any kind of exercise is not recommended during this period. Any kind of panchakarma or nasyakarma is contraindicated. The diet must be avoid of pungent, spicy and salty food, and no sexual intercourse is recommended. So role of diet and lifestyle in prevention and management of gynecological diseases. So there is a famous quote by our Acharya Charaga, Aharam Sambhavam Vastu Rogascha Ahara Sambhavaha. That means whatever you are eating is only becoming or converting as the disease. So if you eat a healthy food, your health also will not be damaged. So healthy and patya food, if taken even in proper quantity, do not get properly digested when the individual is afflicted with grief, fear, anger, and sorrow. Patya kalpana is the wholesome food is basic but most important concept in Ayurveda, which seems to be practical and must be practiced clinically in today's era. Three important factors while dealing with the health and disease compromise. Aushadam is medicine, Aharam is food, Viharam is lifestyle. Ayurveda also includes Ahara as one of the tripods, giving first and foremost place to Ahara. Patya is the one which keeps the person healthy, maintains normal body function, leads to proper functioning of organs, nourishes the mind and intellect, prevents disease, and at the same time corrects the irregularities that may occur in your body. So in a nutshell, due to changing lifestyle, physical and mental stress, and food habits and bad food habits, women in the reproductive age group suffers from various conditions related to menstrual cycle like menorrhagia, dysmenorrhea, irregular menses, PCOD, endometriosis, etc., which seriously affects her health and happiness and also proves to be a great discomfort. It increases incidence of infertility also. Always be self-aware of what is happening in your body with respect to monthly periods, pain during intercourse or bleeding episodes, etc. Know when to approach a doctor. Be open to them when you share your body discomfort so that overall care can be given. Male population should also be aware and be empathetic towards women of their family when they are undergoing any kind of this condition. So to conclude with, do not suppress your natural urges. Avoid exertion during periods. Give importance to the needs of your body. Watch what you eat. And do pranayama and yoga on a regular basis. And my samarpanam to Padma Shri Krishna Kumar ji. Thank you.